How's it going? Welcome back. It's Jonathan, and in this video we're talking El Salvador, we're talking Bitcoin manipulation, we're talking the whales. No, we're not. Let's take a look at the charts because this is too simple. Alrighty, so just in case you missed it, Bitcoin's fallen out of bed. Was it manipulation? Was it El Salvador? Was it the whales? I don't know what it is, in the sense that I don't know what it is that everyone's talking about, but let's just take a look at the charts because I think there's some clues left behind from all the other videos that we've done, which may make this seem a lot simpler to understand and interpret. So we're going to go from left to right through the Bitcoin charts. I just hope that everything I'm showing you is giving you a new way of thinking. This whole idea that someone else is to blame is laughable if you ask me. You see, I'm all about just, understanding the way the markets move and understanding the market's vibration. And I know that sounds quite deep when you think about it, but it just becomes too simple when things just keep occurring in a similar fashion over and over again. And if you go back to my very first videos I started posting about it, and you follow us along each and every single time we publish an update, you're going to start thinking, why bother reading the news? Because everything we have is right in front of us, and that's all we need to look at, okay? If we take a look at, my God, that sun is bright. If we take a look at the daily chart, we can see clearly that the market has reversed severely, and this down here is the 50-period simple moving average. The one up here is the 200-period moving average. We're coming closer to our golden death cross period here. Nothing interesting there, of course. Weekly, markets moved up. We've now had our first. Obviously, if we currently look at the time, it's Wednesday, so we can't say that we're going to close like this, but we've had our first outside bar reversal. Monthly, this is not live data, so this is just based on yesterday's closing price action. We'll leave it at that. The swing has now moved down on the daily. It's broken below the lows in the previous market action. Right now, we ignore it. And in the same instance, the market's moved down on the weekly Gann swing, and we currently ignore it. Kagi charts, we've just crossed, if you take a look here, we've just crossed into the red zone on the daily. Bullish, bearish, we have to see if it just reverses from here or if it stays red. Definitely on the weekly 3% Kagi chart, we're still pointing higher. Regarding price, now this is where it becomes too easy. So when I go through all these charts, I want you to link them all together, okay? So what I've done here is I break them all down into their individual sections just to keep the chart relatively clean. And then when you think about all of the aspects of it, what you want to do is you want to link them all together, okay? So that's what you want to do. So the first one here is we have our price. Now it's quite simple that this period here was what we were watching, especially in the last video. The market's come into this period and reversed. It's come into our sell box and reversed all the way down into our last box, which would be considered the buy box. So that's as simple as it is. It's come up into this period point. I don't care whether you want to call it market manipulation or anything along the esoteric realm. It's completely okay what you want to look at as. For me, it's just simple market harmonics, and the market is moving between these natural areas organically, okay? So let's just move on because there's no further price actions to look at. Now I do have some boxes further up when we start moving up the chart, and I have listed boxes out which are going to be of importance as we head closer towards 100,000. But for now, let's just focus on what's in front of us, and that's the 40 to 50,000 range. Nothing here that's of interest. Elliott wave. So as we know, the market's now come down. We're now definitely entering our period, which is around the 15th of September, for a potential reversal in the market. Obviously, whether we get the 15th of September or we move out around the 20th, which is one of the ones that I was watching, we're definitely looking for some form of market congestion at the moment on the Elliott wave. So we'll keep moving forward. Bitcoin cycles, we were waiting for a pullback in the market to occur in this period here. So as the market's risen up into our right translation, because it's right of this one here. Remember, this is the period. Anything right of that is a right translation, and the market has moved up into the right translation and it's now pulled down. We've also got this period here, which was also looking for a left or right translation. Unless the market moves higher again in the short term, let me clean this up. Anything between here and here, so if the market moves up in any of this time period, it wouldn't matter because we're currently on the right side of this. So there's still another high chance that in this period here, we're looking at a higher low instead of a lower low. So that's building everything now that we've been talking about and putting us into the area of rising prices into the end of the year. So let's just move on, because that's all moving according to plan. There's no out of the ordinary, unexpected occurrences happening. What I want to talk about now, I want to talk about time or Astro. Let's move into the time aspect just to get that out of the way. So I'll go ahead and just blur some of this out, but we were looking for, I'll go ahead and squeeze this up a bit too, a market reversal to occur around the 5th. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but this market reversal that was occurring here was actually at the very, very end of the trading period for that moment. So in this instance, I should have looked closer, but it was definitely pointing towards the 6th. And then the 6th obviously was the top. Well, we had a bit of an outside bar reversal into the top before the market reversed on that date. So whatever occurs here, it doesn't matter if it moves down into the next time count or moves sideways, as long as we get a reversal of one form on the next time count, the market harmonic should still be intact, but I'm okay if it misses the 10th and pushes out to around the 12th. So we'll just see what happens. We don't want to rush this. Regarding the square of 9, so this is becoming all too familiar for you right now. We were waiting to see what happened with this square, and that's definitely the case when it came to the time aspect last time. We're waiting to see if it was going to find congestion on that 45-degree angle, or if it was going to hit the 220-degree before reversing. And in this instance, it came up, hit the 220-degree, reversed, fell through a 220-degree, fell through another 220-degree, found resistance on another 220-degree, and again. We don't look for exacts, so it can cross below it. What's important is to see where the closing is, and it closed on one of the prior 220 degrees. So yes, we have our price box confirming a congestion area here. We have our Elliott wave signaling a potential market move down into a time count before potential moves higher. We have our cycles calling for a potential decline in this period here. We have our time counts, which we're looking for a change of trend. We have our squares, which were looking for another change of trend to occur around these squares. And if we go out to something like the mass pressure, which I haven't got live data switched on, we also were looking for a potential topping pattern to occur before we head into our next congestion period. So that is the thinking that I think when I go through all these and I'm looking for connection points. Now, before we take a look at the mass pressure, let's head back to the Astro, because one of the last videos that I did, I believe it was titled 33,000 for Bitcoin. We went through all the analysis on that one, and I believe it was determined that if Bitcoin did fall, don't quote me exactly, but I believe the 44,000 mark was the point, which was definitely of the most significance if the market did fall to this area. So the 44,000 points was a square, and it also coincided with one of our boxes over here. And I think that's why we, well, at least I shouldn't say we, I signaled as a point to be watching, okay? So with all that boring stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and move on. Seasonality, then mass pressure. So seasonality wise, we're always looking for a negative month in September. It's just based on the last 10 years of data. Now, I was watching some videos on YouTube just before, and they go through all these headlines about what is moving the market. Is it El Salvador? Is it the Bitcoin whales? Is it the IMF and market manipulation and all this sort of stuff? Just I really don't care what you believe in. Like, you're entitled to your own opinion, your own belief. That's totally okay. What I learned early on, though, from my studies and getting caught out on the wrong end of what I believe was true during the silver bull run of 2010, 2011, was that the markets don't move according to fundamentals. They move according to time and cycles. And once you pinpoint time and cycles as your first priority of understanding the markets, everything else starts to fit into place. And all you need to do then is focus on time and cycles. Now, of course, I always go over it. I was very fortunate enough to get my hands, well, I should say, put my hands into other people's pockets and start learning from them. And, you know, it costs a bit of money, but now I have this new way of thinking, this new way of looking, and I don't really care what is the cause of an event, because I already know what effect is going to take place. And I talked about that in the previous video when I was talking about terrorism and forecasting terrorist events. So if you can try to separate yourself from this whole realm of, you know, what is the cause, and instead just focusing on the effect and looking for the next opportunity, you're going to really take a step above and ahead of other people in this game. Because remember, it's not us versus the IMF. It's not us versus governments, and it's not us versus corporations. It's me versus you. And it's how can I get this edge over you so that I can make more money than you? Because when I buy Bitcoin, someone sold it to me. And when I sell Bitcoin, it could be you or someone else that's buying it off me. So as I win or as I lose, someone else is winning and someone else is losing based on that direct change. So someone could have bought high and then sold it low to me, and then I could have I could have bought it low and then sold it high to someone else before the market turned. So obviously, if you don't sell your coins, then there's no sort of zero-sum game for you in that instance, where you do have a chance of winning. But we got to remember that we need our edge, and that edge is only going to be given to us through our own research and understanding the markets. So excuse that little waffle there, but I just wanted to maybe just share something with you. So let's take a look at this. As we know, we were waiting for this market peak to occur. If this is the exact time period that we've been waiting for and the market has now peaked, and once we get our live data in, we bring it in down to around the 44,000 mark. There's 2 points I want to make about this section right here. So let's analyze this section we're going into. One thing to notice right away is these tops are slanting lower. Okay, so we do get a series of lower tops. Another thing to notice is that once the bottom has been formed, the next bottom that occurs is going to be higher, and we start getting rising bottoms, okay? So I do think that we might have a period of declining prices and then sort of false declining prices. But when we get a shift in momentum and we start getting these bottoms that are starting to rise, that's when I think that we should be paying special attention. Now, this period here is definitely between the September to October period. And if we take everything into account that we've been doing, we know that we're looking for a low or falling prices in September, because it's definitely a month that has lower prices, and we can see the forecast is signaling lows into September. And then once we get our lows, October says the clock can turn and the price can change, and that's when we start to get higher prices. Okay, so all these lows are sort of rising before we might get an end of the month rally. Now, I never actually published to you the full 2021 forecast. Now, as you can see here, I never really went into the December period and showed you what happens the full of December as we move into January. And there's a very specific reason for that. But I guess you can gather right here that we have our top, and our top is definitely breached. I never wanted to go into detail into my forecast on how high this can go. That's just because I want to use that for myself. But as we get into December and the live data starts to become apparent, I may definitely share that with you, so that's not a problem at all. But I never wanted to go into it because I wanted you to just focus on what is in front of you, and that's why I always had it ending around the November period, and now it's just loaded into December. So you've got a bit of a glimpse there. But just keep that in mind, that it doesn't matter what your beliefs are and what your opinions are about the markets. Things are occurring behind the scenes that you have no idea on, and all you're trying to do is put the pieces of the puzzle together. I would definitely recommend that you focus on time cycles if you can find the time to research that, because in my opinion, it is the best way to go. But that's all I have. 15 minutes, not too bad. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. So if you enjoyed it, leave a like. If you learned anything, of course, leave it in the comments below. That way I can keep up to date with what you guys are learning and taking away. If you want to stick around, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you soon.